Hello and welcome to Scale Car Garage. Well, we're going to continue with our 1965 1.5 liter Formula One builds, of which there are 4. Well, without any further ado, let's just go over to the workbench and start working on them right away here at Scale Car Garage. Okay, so here we are at the workbench. As you can see, I've been a little busy in just putting parts that we will need to get these cars going in their respective trays. But I think the Lotuses are closer to actually having their chassis test or be tested on the track. So I think we're going to do these two first. And let's do them as a pair, and then we'll do the Brabham chassis. The Brabham chassis, as you can see, I have to attach the motors, and I'll take you through all of that. But let's do the Lotus cars first. I keep wanting to say Loti, but that's not really correct, is it? Okay, so let's just put these to the side, the two Brabhams, and let's focus in on the Lotuses. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got here. All right, so as you can see, we have pretty much, this car is actually quite close. What it doesn't have, when we take the body off, of course, the suspension has to be tended to and so forth. We have a guide blade, we have a motor, we have gears, but we don't have a crown gear. So here is the crown gear that we will use for the car. So that is in the box. This chassis is close. It really is quite close to test. All right. This car, I know we keep having that front axle there. Apologies. This car's going to require a little more work. Now the good news is we've got a lot of work on the chassis done, which is great. I've added the front tires here. So we've got tires for the front. We have tires for the rear. You can see that. And we have wheels for the rear. And the axle has been cut, so that's ready to go through here. And you can see, I'll show you how the gear fits through. The gear is going to be on this side of the motor, and it will be, and there we go. So there's how the car will be built with that, and you can see that turns quite nicely. It's going to be quite nice, actually. All right, so that is all taken care of. The rear suspension has been completed, as we talked about earlier. So, oh, and of course we have a guide blade for the car as well. So the guide blade is all ready to go. So this one's fairly close as well. So we'll just have to get the rear assembled, as we have over here. And, well, rather than yakking, let's get to work. Okay, so we're going now to hopefully get these two chassis in a state that they can at least go around the track. I'm going to describe to you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to keep my mouth shut, which is not easy, and then just go through everything and actually get what I describe done. And if I forget something, I apologize, and I'll mention that as I go through it. Again, I invite you to skip search through this. I'm going to try and do it in real time again. I may compress some parts just to speed things up or fade, get rid of the boring bits. Maybe this is the boring bit. Anyway, I know it is. I'm going to describe what I'm going to do to get the chassis going, and then, as I said, do it. And hopefully we'll have two bare chassis I can get around the track. Anyway, let's get to it. Okay, so I've done, first of all, gotta have a cup of tea. Gotta have a cup of tea, excuse me. Okay, pardon the slurp. So, cup of tea aside, and here are the two Lotuses. So, let's take the bodies off. Now, I have taken the liberty of taking the wheels off this car because the wheels were on this particular car, but not on this one. And I've got some wheels. And I just thought I'd also show you, first of all, let's just put the bodies in a safe place away from our workbench. There they are, all nice and safe. And let me show you the parts that we have for this car. If you, hopefully you can see that. We have the rear suspension bits done, and I'll turn this upside down for just a minute so you can see that I've bent these into triangles to represent the lower wishbones of the rear suspension. So here is the axle. The axle is cut to length. It's ready to go. So here's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to put the wheels and tires on, and you can see that these wheels, we actually manufacture these ourselves. They're made of resin. They have a grub screw, I guess that's what some people call them, and that's what holds them onto the axle. We'll tighten those up and get that straightened out. And we have our gear all ready. Okay, so we'll put the gear on as well. The wires, we're going to have to snip off the little plastic connector and wire in some brushes, at least temporarily, so we can see how this car works. But the tricky bit here actually is these lower suspension points, as well as the shock absorbers. As you can see, the springs and shocks move, but hopefully you can see that they're actually hollow brass tubes. So I have some spring steel or piano wire stock that fits inside, and we're going to make a little bracket that will hold the shocks over the motor and out of the way. And that might actually be the way that this car will stay. These lower suspension connection points, sorry, I didn't finish that. This is actually going to have to be bent towards the chassis, and then once that happens, it'll be bent under this bar right here and up, right where the motor is on both sides. So that has to be done, and this on both cars. So that's what we're going to do. The front wheels are ready to go. The guide blade is ready to go, and we'll have to route the wires. Hopefully you can see there's a space between, I'm just move out the guide flag for a sec. There's a space there, you see, between the connection of the lower suspension arms in the front and the actual holder for the guide, and that's where the wires will be put through. Now, also remembering that this area, this car is going to have a full interior with a full seat, a full driver, steering wheel, and dashboard. So anyway, I think that's a good explanation of what we have to get done. If we can get all those things done for both cars, we can get this on the track. So as I said, if we can get all of those things done for both of these chassis, we can actually get these two chassis to go around the track a wee bit. And well, no time like the present, so let's get at it. Here we go. So here is the chassis. Don't need the glide flag yet, but let's put that out. We have the two wheels. We have the two tires for the rear and the gear. All right, so we can put this lower part to the side. I think the first thing we're going to have to do is do a little bit of measuring to see how big a piece of piano wire we have to cut. So let's see what that's going to be like here. Tweezers, yes. Okay, so the suspension is together all the way here. Hopefully you can see that. I'll move this like so, and I'm going to lift this up without moving it. That would be nice. There we go. Okay. Right. So hold that and lift it up. We don't need a very big piece of. Let's see. I'm going to preset this to say 1 centimeter. That's probably what. Oh, that's too long actually. Maybe not. You know what? We can always shorten it. So let's do 1.5 centimeters. We're going to cut a piece of piano wire 1.5 centimeters long. And I have my wire cutters here. So let's do that right now. Okay, 1.5 centimeter. And it doesn't have to be exact, but there we go. That's 1.5 centimeters right there. Put the vernier calipers down. And the trick is to make the cut without losing the part. There's the mark. There we go. And snip. Ha! Wonderful. All right. Put this to the side. Now, we're going to have to make a bend. Let's see. Perhaps we'll use. There. Let's. Ooh, that's a nice bend. We'll see how this holds together. There we go. Whoops. There we go. Nice. Okay. Well, that'll certainly hold these things together. There we go. And that's what I envisioned, was to hold this. It might be a little too high, but all right. So let's make another one for this chassis. Right. Okay. Through. And I may not have explained this very well earlier, so allow me to show how these suspension parts are made up of numerous pieces of small brass. Even the shock absorber is a brass tube on a very small piece of square brass tube. All right, so now that we have set up here, what we're going to do is, now that we've got the suspension kind of set up, I think we'll put the gear on next. Let's put the gear on. Okay. So let's take out the go. And the gear goes with the teeth on the driver's left side, so that it can mesh like so. Okay. Here we go. There we go. All right. So there's the gear. Now let's get the wheels on. All right. Now we'll take our Allen wrench and tighten the wheel onto the axle. Now I can't overstress this enough, but you do not want to over tighten the wheel on the axle. You want to have it snug, but not over tight. Okay. There we go. As you can see, that's on the axle now. So let's do the other side here. Excuse me. This might be a little too tight, but I think we're good actually. I think we're good. Okay. And you can see how the gear meshes. So, there we go. Route the wires through to here, which is a bit. I'm finding the use of tweezers more and more prevalent in my work. Although, see, you can still do it with your hands. There we go. There we go. Okay. I just have to get some brushes and see if this thing will work. How about that? All right. We have two Lotus chassis. Whoops. Let's try that again here. There we go. I don't think they'll fit side by side really, but it's worth a try. Here we go. Not quite. Not quite. But pretty close. Oh, there we go. There we go. Wow. Well, there we have it, folks. We've got two Lotus chassis that we can test on the track. They're actually ready. What I've done is I've wired them up just temporarily, of course, with some makeshift braid. It isn't a very good braid, but it makes contact, I hope, and we can actually see if these actually work well. Now, big word of caution. They may not make a whole lap. but that's okay. That's okay. We know that everything is working. And again, they are nowhere close to being completed, but we want to know that, that they function, right? Motors are good, gear's good. That's really what we want to see. And then we know that we can detail the chassis, detail the bodies, get all the parts together for the bodies, of course, to detail them. But as you can tell, I'm getting, well, I would say excited, a little nervous, because I have not tested these yet, folks. We've just cobbled them together. And now, I'm gonna see if they actually work on the track. All right? And this is real time. This is real time. I just hope they work. Let's take a look and see if they actually do make it a little ways around the track. All right, folks, so here we are. We've got the two Lotus chassis, and we're going to put them on the track and see if they'll actually, well, let's see if they move. That would be something. Actually, you can see that the brushes, they're a little too springy, and these aren't the brushes we're going to use for the cars. I just wanted to, I had some on my workbench, and I thought that just put them in and let's see what we can get. So, honest to goodness, first time on the track, let's see if they move. Let's try the one in the right lane. Right lane? Fingers crossed. Here we go. It moves. Let's see if we can do a lap. I don't want to go fast. Hey! All right, one out of two ain't bad. Let's try the one in the left lane and see if it moves. Oh dear, let's see. Oh! It does not want to move. Oh, gee, okay, I wonder why. Let's see if we can get it to, okay, there we go. Well, it's not, I think it's the brushes, but one out of two ain't bad. One out of two, I mean, it works, right? It works. Might have to readjust the, I'm gonna get my glasses here. Let's see here, maybe it's a little too, you know what? I think it might be a little too tight. While I've got you here, okay, let me just grab the Allen wrench, and I can show you just how easy it is to adjust this. I think I have the wheels, I don't have enough breadth for the wheels to really rotate properly. So let's take this tire off for a second. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to loosen this wheel. There we go. Loosen it a little bit. All right, and just move it a little bit off, just a wee bit, and see if that, oh, yeah, it feels better already. That feels better already. And try and hold it in place while I tighten it. All right, let's see if that, that's any better? Well, feels better. Let's see, with a little bit of adjusting, what we can get. Seat the tire in. Hopefully we have contact. Let's see. Hey, hey, hey! There we go. Nice and slow, nice and slow. Nice and slow. It's working. That's all we want to see. Can it make a whole lap? Come on, up the hill. Now we're 2 for 2. We did it. It needed a little bit of adjusting. But again, we're not pushing these because I really don't want to, as you can see, that one works. And of course, the other one works. All right. Oh, wonderful. Well, there we have it, folks. Oh my goodness. And you see, this is for real. That's what happened. We just took it from the bench to the track. We were 1 for 2, and then we did a little bit of adjusting with the braids. Now remember, those braids are just very temporary. And a little bit of adjusting with the wheels and making sure it didn't bind. And we have 2 rolling chassis. 2 Lotus rolling chassis. Oh boy, thank you so much for your patience. As I said at the beginning, feel free to skip search through anything that you may not want to see. But so far so good. And we'll continue with, well, we've got 2 more chassis to try and bring to life. This is fun. This is fun. Thank you so much for watching, for your wonderful comments, and for all of you who have subscribed. I really want to thank you so very much. So, not a bad day here at Scale Car Garage.
I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe.